And welcome, everyone. This week we are joined by the Congressman representing Texas District 34, Vicente Gonzalez. Thank you so much for your time. And we are going to be discussing what some call NAFTA 2.0, and that is the USMCA trade deal. Now, this has been effective. It's helped the economy here in the Valley a lot. You see the results, but it's going to be reviewed in 2026. Now, you've talked about perhaps rewriting the 1944 Water Treaty as part of the USMCA deal. Is that something that can happen?
Let me tell you, I believe anything can happen. And I think this is going to be an opportunity for this administration to really flex its muscles and say, hey, right now we're negotiating USMCA, and we want to renegotiate the Treaty of 1944 that no longer makes sense today. I think we can draft better language in that treaty that makes sense for 2024 and moving into 2025. The language that is in the Treaty of 1944 is antiquated, as many of our treaties are, and I think this is an opportunity to deal with the Mexican government eye to eye as we're negotiating trade. We also could do a lot more on border security, on migrant people trafficking, and on the drugs and arms coming across our border. I think Mexico can help us a lot more. Obviously, border security is a huge concern for South Texans and people across our country, and I think those are issues to really press on when we're negotiating our trade.
Okay, now also we've been hearing a lot from President Donald Trump about how he's going to be using tariffs. He says tariffs are beautiful. Do you think that that would hurt the Valley with the income we're making from trade?
Oh, absolutely, it would have an impact on the Valley. But what we need to think about is every time that we apply a tariff, they apply one as well, right? So it's like a back and forth deal, and it hurts different communities, different industries around the country. Some may hurt us and some may not. It may hurt another region in the country. But at the end of the day, getting into a tariff war is never a smart thing with our #1 trading partner. But what we need to do is sit with them across the table, look at them eye to eye, and tell them these are the things that we need fixed. And let's do it as friends, as partners, as neighbors, and assure that we have prosperity and economic growth for both countries. But I think that this is an opportunity to have an honest conversation with our neighbor about a lot of the concerns, especially some of the security concerns. Right now, trade is free trade. Our free trade agreement is no longer free trade for everybody. There are a lot of cartels extorting a lot of people moving trade in both ways, north and south, that are having to pay cartels to get their products and services to their final destination. And I think this is going to be a very important topic as we negotiate this next trade segment.
Would you like to see more provisions added to USMCA that would benefit ag in Mexico, but also ag here in the Valley?
Well, water would be the most important one, right? Because I think that's what's really pressed our farmers the worst down in South Texas, is not having the ability to have water sustainability and to be able to plan future harvests and crops. And a lot of crop insurance no longer wants to gamble in South Texas because there's not a guarantee that our farmers are going to have the water they need. And right now it's our farmers. Down the road it could be municipalities that are being impacted by this water supply. So we need to have a very serious conversation with our neighbors to the south about the water. And we also, it's got to be a carrot and a stick, right, when you negotiate for these kind of things. You got to have an honest conversation with your neighbor and tell them if you don't respond to that, then we're going to have to, think of tariffs or think of other changes, policy adjustments that we can make that puts pressure on the Mexican nationals, on the Mexican government to readjust their policy towards us.
Would you like to see trade deals with other countries out there set up like USMCA?
I would. I think we could do trade all the way through Central America and even South America. We're trying to raise those Central American countries to assure that we create conditions that stop migration. I think having more trade is better than having more aid. Helping these countries create prosperity by creating business and agriculture operations and tourist operations that create jobs and conditions for people to want to stay in their home country. We should absolutely do that, just the way we have with Mexico, that has created an economic engine south of our border that is one of the best and most robust in the country, in the world.
Okay, now as we head to this review in 2026 of USMCA, do you think unions will be playing any role in that?
Well, unions always play a very important role in trade negotiation because we want to make sure that we stay competitive with the working people here in our country and that we're paying them a livable wage. So that's a very important conversation that we have when we negotiate free trade with Mexico. We also want to make sure that American companies that are moving south are not just there to take advantage of super cheap labor and abusive conditions and unregulated circumstances. We need to make sure that we create a fair working condition for people on both sides of the border, and unions play a very important role in those negotiations.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Congressman Vicente Gonzalez.
Thank you.
All right, U.S. House Representative for District 15, Monica De La Cruz, issued this statement. A strong commitment to the USMCA is vital to the Rio Grande Valley and the success of our local agriculture economy. I look forward to working alongside the Trump administration to renegotiate a trade agreement that puts Texas farmers first and ensures the Mexican government is held accountable. It's my hope that the 1944 Water Treaty is included in this renegotiation process. For far too long, the Mexican government has refused to comply with their terms of the agreement and owes over 1 million acre-feet of water to South Texas farmers.